What up, everyone? It's your boy Soju
and Bob
from the Straight Chillin' Podcast, back with another ranking video. This time we are talking about the entire Scream franchise in honor of the new Scream film that just came out, Scream 2020 Deuce. So today we're going to be talking about our top five. We're going to be ranking them 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. 5 being the worst, 1 being the best. So Bob, kick us off. What is your least favorite Scream film coming in at number 5?
My least favorite Scream film, I'm sure it comes as no surprise to anybody who's familiar with the franchise, it's number 3. Scream 3 was not written by Michael Williamson. It's the only one that wasn't written by him. And I think it definitely comes through in the script. It takes place outside of Woodsboro. It's a very forgettable movie. It's the most forgettable movie of the franchise. What's your number 5?
Yeah, I agree. Number 3 is my number 5. It's very forgettable, and it's forgettable within the movie. I remember watching it for the very first time and the killer being revealed and me saying like, who is that? Who is that character? Even the tone kind of shift. It is, I think, the goofiest or kind of the lightest tone. I do think it does have its own kind of message that's kind of maybe the best thing about it. But generally, the third in the series is the least inspiring, the least fun, the most forgettable, as you said, for sure. Yeah. Ugh. You can skip 3. I would say really you could skip it. I don't think it has an effect on a whole lot of the other films. Okay, Bob, we'll kick us off number 4. What's your number 4?
I'm going to go with Scream 2.
Scream Deuce.
Scream Deuce. Okay. Is my number 4 spot.
Okay.
It has an amazing opening scene.
Yeah.
Very memorable.
The movie theater.
They introduced the film franchise within the film franchise called Stab. I think it's a really smart meta commentary. I don't love who the killers turn out to be, which we'll keep this spoiler free. And I don't necessarily like the killer's motivations. So it's a mixed bag. What's your number 4?
Actually, I'm going to come in again. Agree with number 2. I mean, for the longest time, I would always say that, Scream 2 was one of the best, direct sequels to any kind of horror franchise. Mm-hmm. So I think it's very solid, and it's kind of shocking that now it's coming in at number 4 on the lower half. Yeah. But, I think it's a testament to the overall franchise, how strong it has become over the past few years, decades, I guess. I like the characters, following them into college. It's a kind of natural progression. I think maybe it was rushed out a little bit. I feel like the script could have had some fine tuning to go with it. The killers do seem kind of strange once they get revealed. And it's just looking back, it's definitely not the tightest Scream sequel, but it's still solid. I say you could skip 3. You should watch 2. 2 is definitely worth the watch.
Absolutely should,
Yeah. All right. Coming in at number 3.
Number 3, I'm going to go with 5 Cream.
5 Cream, the newest one, just released last weekend. So 2020 Deuce, 5 Cream. Why? Why is this right in the middle?
It's right in the middle for me because it doesn't do anything really new, or it doesn't add to the franchise in any real meaningful way. It's very much a copy of the first Scream, not to the T, but it's very, very similar. And it even comments about that in the movie because, we are watching these meta horror movies. They comment on themselves start to finish. It's just kind of what they do. I do really love the killer's motivations in this movie, I will say. The reveal at the end I thought was very smart and very well conceived, and almost has some sort of like a full circle aspect with the original that I really did enjoy. And the brutality, very brutal as well.
Yeah.
What about you?
This is where we're going to switch up a little bit. In my third place, I'm going to put Scream 4, which came out 2011.
Yeah.
And I like this one a lot. This is a really good sequel, and I think it's only aged better over time. When it first came out, it didn't get as high praise, but I always enjoyed it. And it has still kind of a lighter tone. It's more tongue-in-cheek, which is more connected to the original, but it also relies on a lot of gimmicks. The opening sequence and the end sequence are very unique and pretty original, but also they kind of string things along a little too much, I feel like. Once you've kind of gotten past the originality of it or seen it multiple times, it kind of bogs the film down, in my opinion. You're kind of like, okay, I already know the joke or like the kind of the gimmick. And so I'm kind of ready to move on. But I thought that the actors were really great. All the new additions and the motivations of the killer were really smart. I think it's really well written. There was one thing too, this being the fourth film, I feel like there's not a whole lot of growth with our main characters where they're almost too much tied to the first one. Or I feel like there should have been more growth by this film. Scream 4.
That's a fair criticism.
And so by 4, you're like, okay, these characters shouldn't be so samey, but they are. And so that's kind of a knock for me on 4. So yeah.
All right.
So I think we know where this is going, Bob.
I think so, yeah.
Tell me your thoughts on your Scream number deuce.
My number 2 spot is going to go to Scream 4, which Justin did a very good job summing it up. I will add that I think the bit of social commentary that's sort of injected in this movie has only become like more meaningful and more accurate over the years. So like you said, it has aged very well, I think. The opening is one of my favorite opening sequences of all time. And I love the end too. They got the big stab-a-thon that they're hosting, which looks like an amazing party. And they take it to the house and then to the hospital. So yeah, it does a few like fake out openings and a few fake out like endings. And I kind of enjoyed that aspect of it. It felt kind of fresh and original. And this movie is actually very brutal as well. There's some really, really tough kills in it. I think it's a great sequel. Obviously, it's my number 2.
Okay. And my number 2 is going to be 5 Cream.
5 Cream.
Yep. Right. Scream 2020 Deuce. This one's a little more difficult, and it could change over time because I've only had a couple days to let this marinate at this point. This is coming out, the week after release. And so I haven't spent a lot of time with it, obviously. But on my first impressions, I liked how it was almost the closest to the original in just kind of pacing and setup, but they accomplished the whole idea of a legacy sequel in that it felt more brutal. It felt more grounded, but the motivations were super interesting. I was trying to guess who the killers were during it, totally missed off, but when it was revealed, I was completely happy with why they did it and the kind of social commentary they were making on horror films and just the state of horror right now. They were personal conversations that I've had in my own life and this podcast and stuff like that. So I just thought it was really smart and really relevant to me at the time. And I thought they did a great job paying tribute to Wes Craven.
Yeah.
And I really appreciated that. And was like really surprised, I think, with how well they did without him. So maybe it was just like, oh, wow, you did it. Good job, guys. And I'm giving them more credit. And we'll see. Yeah, we'll see how time kind of ages this one. But for me right now, 5 Cream is my fave on number 2 spot.
All right.
Finally, where are we at? Yeah. Number 1, of course, for both of us is going to be OG Scream.
Scream. 1996.
Yeah, so let's talk about how amazing this movie is first. Good.
Yeah.
Why do we still enjoy this movie over 20 years later?
It does a really good job at commenting on slasher tropes and rules. It lays them out in a way that I feel like people were aware of, but not necessarily so clearly, maybe not so well defined. Mm-hmm. So it does a good job of doing that. And then it also does a really good job of playing in that slasher subgenre in breaking a lot of those rules. Like in the Scream franchise, there is no nudity. There's almost always 2 killers. One of the rules in the movie is, you can't have sex or else you die. Our main character, Sydney, does have sex in the movie. She doesn't die. They just do a really good job at like telling you the rules and then breaking a lot of them as well. It's funny. It's very gory. All the performances are like memorable. All of these characters are memorable. Honestly, there's no throwaways whatsoever. The soundtrack is fantastic. I could go on and on. I don't know. Why do you like the movie?
Yeah, I mean, I think it's one of those perfect blends of it is brutal. It's very tongue in cheek, though. It's got the levity in there that doesn't feel forced. It really was perfect for its timing. When so many slasher franchises were starting to get stale in the 90s, people didn't really know what to do with them anymore. And you just start to get ridiculous things. It was nice to almost feel like a back to basics for horror slashers in that point, but to almost look at it from above and say, like, this is what it is. We know what it is. Even people making them maybe didn't even have those rules kind of laid out like that. And it's just fun to see it in that kind of medicine. And it's still relevant, 20 years later. And I think it's a lot of fun to watch, but also very witty and smart in its writing and its craft. And I just think it's held up really well. The characters are super strong. They keep coming back. And I don't know. It's just a classic. Scream.
It's absolutely a classic from the 90s. The 90s don't totally suck. Don't believe that shit.
Thanks, Scream.
Thank you, Scream.
Yeah. Well, so those are our thoughts. Let us know your rankings in the comments below. Have you seen the new 5 Cream? Where would you place it in this overall rankings? Let us know. Make sure to hit the like and subscribe buttons to get some weekly horror content from the Straight Chillin' Podcast. And until next time, don't forget to keep chillin'.
Keep chillin'.